Till now, in this particular topic on, or in this particular module on exception handling in Java. So what we have learned so far is like before a lecture, we have no idea about what is exception, how we are going getting an exceptions and all those things. So various questions are there in our mind. So we already means we always merge this exception and error in a same category. But after going through like 2 3 lectures on this particular module, now you have realized that exception and error both are different. They are not at all similar to each other, right? And similarly, your runtime exceptions you will always get during your runtime. And after that, you have an idea about that what is the main role of your default exception handler. So every time in our Java programming language, whenever we are not handling any exception, then we have a default exception handler, which will help us in order to display that particular message. Like, okay, this class error exception you are getting it, or this is the message, and at which stack trace you are getting that particular exception. Now, after that, we came to know about, okay, we are getting an exception, but in reality, we are not handling that exception. So how can we handle it? So there are two keywords which we have gone through. First one is your try keyword, and second one is our catch keyword. So whatever the code where you are feeling like, okay, here you can have an exception. So what you do, you just try to put that particular our statement inside our try block, and whatever the exception which you might get, okay, always try to put inside your catch block. And remember, here in catch block you have to means you can have multiple catch block too, and always try to write some class, okay, like which exception class this particular carrier which you are going to get due in your what your try block. Similarly, in our last lecture, we have gone through about finally block, and what are the things which we have learned so far with respect to your finally block is that that finally block will always execute. Okay, so even though you are getting an exception, you are not getting any exception, even you are handling that exception, even you are not handling that particular exception, your finally block will always execute. This is very important because sometimes a student generally will give you some question and we will ask you like what will be your output, and if you have some conceptual means doubt related to this finally block, then according to you, you will say that, okay, whenever we are getting any exception, then only your finally block will get executed. Remember, in using this flow chart, we can now say that, okay, in all the possible cases, means if you have written finally block, there is 100% chance that it will gets executed. Only I have shown you some issues, okay, some cases like whenever you are is using system.exit or something, whenever you are getting some fatal error, right? Only in that particular scenario your finally block will not get executed, but there is a very high probability that most of the times our finally block gets executed. Even though you are getting an exception, you are not getting an exception, you are handling that exception, or you are not handling that exception. So why we are using finally block? Generally, we use this finally block not to handle exception. Remember, why we use for finally block? Just in order to make that, okay, in order to close our resources. So suppose if we are using some resources and suppose we got some exception. So we want to close that resource, okay? Otherwise it will keeps on hold, okay? And we don't want to waste our resource so that it will keeps on waiting and waiting and waiting like that, okay? So this is what we don't want. That is the reason we always go for finally block. So every time if somebody is going to ask you, can we handle the exception in our finally block? So remember, we never handle our exception inside our finally block. We always handle our exception inside our catch block. Remember, this point is very important. Now after that, we have discussed in our last lecture is related to throw keyword, and in your labs also now you have already got the problem. So those who already have their first lab like at 9:30, so now they have got the questions related to this your try, catch and throw block. So right now you already have an idea about what do you mean by try and catch block. But in your lab problems too, you will get the maximum questions based on this your throw keyword. Remember this your throw keyword. So how we are going to use throw keyword and what is the need of this throw keyword? So I have given you several examples like in Java, whenever you are getting an exception. So and the statement where you get an exception, right? So here, whenever we are getting any exception, so automatically our JVM, okay, or you can call it as this method will create an object, okay. So right now we are not creating this object, but intrinsically, okay, who our object gets created. So this exception belong to which class? So I have already told you about various classes about exception. So you already know about that. This exception belong to your arithmetic exception class. So automatically you already know that using new keyword, we generally create an object. So automatically it will create an object of your arithmetic exception class. Now, once it will create an object of this arithmetic exception class, then it will handle this exception object to our JVM. Now, JVM will ask our main method, hey, main method, are you handling this exception or not? Then this method will check in the catch block, hey, am I handling it or not? So this is of arithmetic exception. So am I handling arithmetic exception? Yes, I'm handling it. So it will tell us our JVM, yes, I am handling it. No need to worry. Then JVM will say, okay, then handle it. Then it will handle and it will execute our catch block, and whatever the statement that are there after that particular statement, it will execute all those statements, right? So this is all about what we have learned so far related to about your intrinsically how our objects gets created. But now in reality, what if we want to create our own exception object, okay? Can we create explicitly too? So yes, in Java, we can create our exception objects explicitly too. So here, this is an example. So see here in this scenario, what I have done, I have created my exception object explicitly. So you can see directly that new arithmetic exception. So here in reality, if I'm going to execute this code, so you already know that if I'm not going to write this statement, so I will not get any exception. Why? Because age can be less than 18. That is correct. No issue at all. But what I want is that I want to create my own exception, and I want that only in that particular scenario when your age is less than 18. So how can I create that particular exception? In order to build my business logic, is that I will create an object of this particular exception, and using this throw keyword, I will throw this exception object to my JVM, right? Now the same scenario will occur like in our intrinsic, extrinsic, implicitly, or whatever the objects which we are getting it earlier. So if you want to handle it, so how you are going to handle it? You have to use try and catch block. And if you are not handling it, then automatically it will keeps on propagating your exception. And if none of your method is basically executing your except or basically handling that particular exception, then JVM will directly give it to our default exception handler. Okay, so default exception handler will investigate only if none of your method is basically handling that particular exception, and you will get an exception like that. In some of your lab problems, as I've already discussed with you in your last lecture, is that how to create your exception class. You can create your own exception class too. And here you have to use the concept of your inheritance. Now, the question that comes into your mind is, sir, why this code gets executed? Because in this uh, entire program, we don't have this class, this runtime exception class, where this class is there, okay? And we are not importing any packages too. So where we are getting it? So remember, in Java, there is a by default import package, and that package is import java.lang package. Remember this package, because in interview they might ask you these such kind of simple questions, right? And at that time you will get confused. Okay, yes, this question is very valid, where this class is located, right? And we are basically using this class, but in this entire program we are not basically creating this class. So where this class is located, and even I am not importing any package, so from where I am getting this particular class? So remember, using this package. So generally, if you want to write it by your own, you can write it. But even if you are not writing, you are not importing this package, by default your compiler will provide you this package that is known as your java.lang package. So inside java.lang package, we have a class named as exception class. So you know that inside exception class, we have different various subclasses too, right? So this is how basically you can create your own exceptions and you can basically execute your code, right? So again, you can see, so I have already explained this particular scenario too. Now in our today's lecture, we are going to discuss about the last keyword that is basically related to our exception handling, is our throws keyword. Don't get confused, because generally students get confused with your throw versus throws. Both are different. Their entire functionality is different. Okay, there is no similarity. The similarity is only that both of them works under the category of your exception handling, right? Now, using throw, what we are doing, we are creating exception object explicitly, and we are passing it that explicit exception object to our JVM. Now, using throws keyword, what we are going to do, right? What is the need of this throws keyword? What is the application of this throws keyword? In this slide, we are going to learn about this particular thing. So let's check it out by the theoretical example. Then using some source code, we will try to understand what is the meaning of throws keyword. So let's check it out. So the Java throws keyword is used to declare an exception. So you already know that, okay? So it means that during declaration, okay, whenever we are declaring some method, whenever we are declaring some class or something like that, only at that moment of time, we always use this keyword that is known as your throws keyword. So what this throws keyword is doing, it is just declaring an exception. Okay, now second thing is that what is the main functionality of this thing? So right now, let's take this example. Okay, let's take this example. In this example, you are getting an exception, right? You have created your explicit exception, and now it becomes, you have two options. You have two options. Either till now, I'm just telling you about till now. First option is either you handle this exception. How you are going to handle this exception? Using try and catch block, right? Like this. Now, what if, can anyone tell me, if I am not going to write this try block, if I'm not handling this exception, right? If I'm not handling this exception, see, I'm removing these two lines. And if I am going to compile this code, then what will happen? Can anyone tell me what will happen? Sorry. What will happen if I am going to compile this code? Whether this code compiled successfully? Yes, anyone? Just post your answer in the chat box. So Harshvardhan posted Stack Overflow error. No, Harshvardhan, here I think you get confused. See, we have main. Main is calling your M method. Sorry. Main is calling M method. Sorry, main is calling your P method. P is calling your M method. Right. And M is calling N method. Okay. So here you are having the stack of only 4. Okay. So you will not get a Stack Overflow exception. Remember, Stack Overflow you will only get, see, when your stack size is too large, while it depends upon your hardware. But yeah, for 4, I am 100% sure that in any machine, it will not give you Stack Overflow error. Okay. Because your stack size, you can assume it like more than 100 like this, or you can assume it 100. Okay. Got it? So for here, you will not get Stack Overflow error. But here my question is, remember, here you are getting a checked exception, right? This is an example of checked exception. So what I'm asking is, I am compiling this code. I am compiling this code. Then what will happen if I'm going to execute this code? Yes? Anyone? Whether this code compiled successfully, so just write yes. Otherwise, just write no. Yes for compiled successfully. No, it won't compile successfully. Just give me your answer. Just write it down, either yes or no, right? Anyone? Just go through this code. Anyone? Okay, so remember what I have told you. Okay, so one answer I got from Yashwant is no. Okay, yeah. So let's check it out, right? What will happen? See, whenever we are getting checked exception means you are getting an exception, but your compiler is telling you during compilation time, right, that you are getting an exception. So it means that whenever you are getting checked exception, it is mandatory. Remember, it is mandatory for you to handle that exception. It is mandatory for you to handle that exception. If you are not handling that exception, so you will always get what? Compilation error. And here we are creating an object of your checked exception. IO exception comes under the category of checked exception. Now it becomes mandatory for you to handle this exception. But in our entire method, right, in our entire method propagation, we are not handling this exception. How we generally handle this exception? Using try or try and catch block, right? And we are not handling it. So if we are not handling it, then we will get a compilation error. Now, how to sort out these such kind of issue? In order to sort out this issue, it is mandatory for you to write down try and catch block, even though you are getting an exception or not. But still, if there is some scope of your checked exception, it is mandatory for you to write try and catch block. Now you have created try and catch block, right? Now if we are going to execute this code, now this code will execute it for means successfully, no issue at all. Now, but what if I don't want to handle this exception and I just want to propagate this exception? What I mean to say is that I don't want to handle this exception, right? I don't want to handle this exception, and I want to basically want that, okay, JVM should handle or delegate this exception to my default exception handler. So for checked exception, how can we perform these such kind of thing? So using your throws keyword. So that is the application of your throws keyword, right? So using throws keyword, what we generally do, we delegate the responsibility of exception handling to the caller method, right? So the method who is calling, right? Now for checked exception. So we generally call it for your checked exception. So if someone will ask me, sir, why not for unchecked exception? Because automatically our JVM is performing the same operation. So why to write it for unchecked exception, right? But for checked exception, now it becomes mandatory to basically delegate this particular method, right? So that is why what we are doing, we are performing and we are delegating this your exception. So it gives an information to the, and why we are using it. One more important point that why we are using throws keyword, to give an information to the programmer that there may occur an exception, okay, like the method which you are calling. So that is why we want that it is better for the programmer to provide exception handling code. It's better to handle it using try and catch block. Okay, you can handle it only using try and catch block. So here we are also telling the programmer who is going to basically call our method that, okay, we are getting an exception. So always remember, it is generally used for checked exception. Why not for unchecked? Because JVM always performs the same operation, right? So that is why we don't require throws keyword. Even if you want to use, you can use it, right? So throws keyword does not prevent us from, again, abnormal termination, right? So again, only your try and catch block will prevent us from our abnormal termination. So this is basically the syntax of our throws keyword. So whenever we are declaring some method now, so what you do, you just write it down some return type. So suppose int method name is display, right? Remember, after once you are declaring some method now, after that just try to use this keyword that is known as your throws, and whatever the exception class you are saying that your method might contain. Okay, so what you do, you are just delegating. You are delegating means you are telling your caller method who is going to call this particular display method, you are telling that method that, hey, whatever the callee, that basically caller, hey, caller, I'm getting this exception. I am always already telling you, and either handle it. Please handle this particular exception because I'm not handling in my this particular method line. Okay, so this is why basically we use your throws keyword. So checked exception only because unchecked exception under your control, and so correct your code. Error beyond your control. So you already know that errors are beyond our control. So from a programmer point of view, we generally say that we never deal with these such kind of things. Even though if you have an idea about hardware, so you can also sort it out these such kind of issue. But we are handling like, okay, we are not handling these such kind. We are just handling whatever the thing logic that are basically related to a logic and something like that. Right. So let's take one example, and using this example, we will try to understand. So what we have learned so far related to our throws keyword is that throws keyword will declare our exception. We generally use this throws keyword with our method, right? And use this throws keyword we always used with your checked exception. And the last point is that throws keyword we always used to delegate, okay? Or to tell our caller method that, okay, here we are getting an exception, so please handle it. Okay, so let's take this particular example. So in this example, this is the same example. So in this example, what we are doing it, so I'm just creating a stack trace. So first of all, it will create main method. So here we will get main. Then we are creating an object obj.p. So we are calling p over there, right? So here we are calling p method. Now, after calling p, what we are doing? We are calling our n method. So here we are calling n method, right? And after n method, what we are doing? We are basically calling our our m method right now. Now in M method, what we are getting? We are getting checked exception. Okay. So whenever you are getting checked exception, now remember, because during compilation we will get an error. Otherwise, okay, for checked exception. So now it becomes mandatory for you to handle this exception. Either you have two options, right? Either handle this exception or either delegate this exception. So right now we have created this our customer explicit exception object, and IO exception comes under the category of your checked exception. So here we are not using try and catch block. So it means we are not handling this exception. But still we want that we should execute this particular code. So what we are going to do? We are going to use this throws keyword, throws IO exception. Then what will happen? Our compiler will say, okay, now no issue. I will not give you compilation error over here because the caller method who is basically calling this IO, this M method now it becomes mandatory for this method to handle this exception. So sorry, this N method. Now, once it will go into N method now. So again, here we are not handling this exception, but again we have used this which exception object or which declaration. Sorry, any question? If you have any question, otherwise kindly mute your mic. Yeah. So what will happen here? Again, it will ask. So are you handling this exception over there? See, we are not using try and catch block inside our N method. This is the only scope of our M, this one, right? So what will happen in this particular scenario? We are not handling it. Then what will happen? It will go directly and it will say, okay, you have declared that the caller method, who is basically going to call this method, will handle this IO exception, right? So it will say that, okay, I will compile this entire block of code successfully. Now again, it will go to directly to our which method is calling n method, that is our p method. Now it will ask, hey p method, are you handling this exception or not? So yes, we are handling this exception. So now we are handling this exception. So what it will do, it will execute this statement, this block, and it will terminate our program normally. Okay, so you will get the output, that is your exception handle, and next line you will get the output as your normal flow. So remember, see, this is the keyword you have to use. So in your labs, I think if you are going to solve your fourth problem of your lab 1, so you will get a question where you have to use this key concept of your throws keyword. Okay, so using throws keyword, you are going to delegate. It means that particular method is basically not solving or exception. So I am telling that, okay, my caller method, who the method who is calling this particular exception is going to basically handle, right? So remember, these are the 4 points which we have learned so far, is that your throws keyword always declare an exception, right? And this is the syntax. Remember, this is the syntax. After method name, I can show you here also. So see, after method, once you are going to declare method, now during method declaration only, you can write it down this thing. Just write it down, throws IO exception, right? So that we will not get any compilation error, right? So we want to avoid compilation error. So that is why we are using the concept of your throws keyword. So there are 2 cases. So if you are calling method that declares an exception, you must either caught or declare the exception, right? Caught means you either use try and catch block, or either you declare the exception. So let's go for the 2 cases. So our first case is you caught the exception, that is handle the exception, try and catch. So let's take our first example. In our first example, if you will see over there, then what will happen inside our public static void main string args, we are creating an object of your this class, right? Till now everything is fine. Now we are calling this method m.method. So once we will get calling this method, so inside this method, what we can see, we are seeing that we have created an explicit exception object. Now this exception handling object will directly go to our JVM, okay? But not right now JVM, because this IO exception comes under the category of which class? Your a checked exception class, okay? So because as I told you that checked exception, so during compilation time we have to execute. So IO exception, remember कि ये आपका हमेशा compilation time पर ही आपको इसको करना पड़ेगा. अगर आप इसको compilation में नहीं करोगे, then we won't be able to basically execute during our runtime. So we have to handle it. So are we using try and catch block? No, we are not using try and catch block over here. So what is the other solution we have? So if you don't want to use try and catch block over there, so it's better to delegate, to use throws keyword over there. And we have to mention, it's not like that you are getting here IO exception and here you are mentioning that, okay, we are getting arithmetic exception. Then in that scenario, what will happen? You will get a compilation error. Remember, जो भी आपका exception यहाँ पर आएगा ना, object which you are basically creating over there, it is mandatory for you to throw that particular exception over here, okay, class. Now after that, once you have thrown this particular exception class, now it will check in the main class, right? In the main class, are you handling this exception or not? So yes, we are handling it. So that is why if we are going to execute this code, so we will get the output, that is your exception handling, and we will get the output as your normal flow. Now, in the second case, let's check it out. What will happen in our second case? In case you declare the exception, if exception does not occur, the code will be executed. So let's take our second case. So in this case, what will happen? Program if exception does not occur. See, what is happening over here? See, हमने क्या किया है, what we have done, we are not getting any exception in this statement, right? Still what we have done, we have thrown this exception over here. So remember, even though if you have created some method and you are throwing, so if you are writing this throws IO exception, and inside your statement, inside your this method, you are not getting any exception. So remember, you are not going to get any compilation error. Remember this point. तो अगर आपका कोई भी exception नहीं आ रहा है, so no need to worry, you won't be able to get any compilation error. See, so if I am going to execute this code, see, in this entire program, I am not getting any exception. Still, I have written throws IO exception, throws IO exception. So still, we are not getting any exception over there. So it's not like that we will get any error. So if we are not getting any exception, no need to worry, okay? So it will execute our program normally and we will get the output device operation performed and your normal flow. Now let's take one more example case that a program if exception occurs. So I have already shown you this example is that here, see what is happening. We are getting an exception and so it means that it is mandatory for us to basically throw this exception, right? So here, if you will see our entire code, are we handling this exception or not? No, we are not handling this exception. Why? Because in our entire program, we don't have try and catch block, right? So, and this is the checked exception. So it is mandatory for us to basically handle this exception, right? But how basically to avoid or evade our compilation error? So what you do, you just write down throws IO exception. Now main method, because this is our calling method, now it becomes mandatory for our calling method to basically handle this exception. Now, but in our main method, again, what we have written? We have written throws IO exception. It means that now our main method is again not handling this exception and it is telling our JVM that please handle this exception. So you already know that how our JVM will handle this exception by calling our default exceptional handler. Okay, DES, default exception handler. And if you are going to execute this code, so you will get some runtime exception, not compilation time exception. See, if in exam, if we will give you this question, okay, and we will tell you about, okay, this IO exception is your checked exception, then please don't write that you will get a compilation error. Here you will get a runtime exception, okay, not compilation time exception. Remember this point. Why? Because we are delegating these exceptions, right? This is very important. So these are the differences between your throw and your throws keyword. First point is your throw keyword is used to explicitly throw an exception, and using throws keyword, we just declare an exception. Remember, it is used for just declaring an exception. Checked exception cannot be propagated using throw key only, okay? So if you want to propagate your exception, checked exception, so you have to use your throws keyword. So like in our method, why we are using, we just want to propagate, so that is why. So throw is followed by an instance, so because we are creating an object, and throws is always followed by our class. So after that, you already know that you have to write some classes, okay, like your arithmetic exception class, your null pointer exception class, IO exception class, something like that. So a throw is used within a method, and throw is used with the method signature. This is very important, right? So if you want to use throw, so within a method you have to use. So if you want to use, you have to use with your method signature. You cannot throw multiple exception, but you can declare multiple exception. Remember, if I want to write now, so don't say I will get an error. If I want to write IO exception, arithmetic exception, so I can write it down like that. No issue at all. Null pointer exception. So I can write any number of exception over there. There is no restriction related to that, right? Like in this example, method throws IO exception, SQL exception. So this thing, what we can do over here. So thank you all. So in this, our entire this topic, we have covered our entire exception handling code, and we have covered our entire topic. Okay, so is there anyone who is having any doubt related to our exception handling code? Otherwise, we are now going to solve the problems related to our some MCQs related to our exception handling code. Yes, is there anyone who is having any doubt? Please, you can ask me if anyone is having any doubt. Yes, anyone? Okay, if you don't have any, so still you can ask. So what I'm going to do, so that it is a kind of a revision for you. Okay, so because it contains the entire MCQ thing, and I'm 100% sure if you know the concept, you will give me the correct answer. And if you are not giving the correct answer, okay, then we will try to figure it out. Okay, like this. So when does exception in Java arise in code sequence? During runtime, compilation time, can occur anytime, or none of the above. So generally here I'm not asking about the error. I'm telling you that exception generally when it occurs during runtime, compilation time, or when our exceptions occur. Okay, I'm not talking about this statement. So just give me your answer. You can directly post your answer in the chat box. Problems are quite simple. Okay, so just post your answer. Yeah. So
Sir,
so exceptions, one exceptions will come during runtime. So I got one answer, that is your runtime. What about others? You can post your answer in the chat box. Please participate in this activity so that you will learn a lot of things. Okay. So that is why I have added some MCQ quiz kind of thing. Yes, anyone other than one answer? Is there anyone who is getting some other answer? So I got one answer from Yashwant, that is will get runtime. Runtime is the correct answer. What about others? Yeah, please participate. Okay, so I hope that you know the answer because none of you are responding. So I'm telling you that the correct answer over here is runtime. Okay, because always your exceptions comes during your runtime. But now after later on we have categorized it. Okay, during compilation time or your runtime, like that. Now, which of these keyword is not a part of exception handling? Now tell me, which of these keyword is not a part
sir,
of exception handling?
finally.
1, 2, 3, 4. Just write down the correct answer. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got one answer from Harshvardhan, that is thrown. Sahil posted finally. Yes. What about others? Okay, thrown. So correct. See, in exception handling, we have try, catch, finally, throw, and your throws. Okay, so we know try where we are getting an exception where we are getting that this might be a risky code, where we are handling this exception. Finally, always used to basically close our resources. It will always execute and it will always followed after try block. So yes, it is also valid in Java. Throw, you want to create your exception object explicitly. This is to declare an exception and to delegate our exception. Okay, so out of these four options, this thrown is not this any keyword. Okay, so don't get confused. So the correct answer for this particular option is thrown. So thrown is not a part of your exception handling. Now let's go through our third question. Which of these keywords must be used to monitor for exception? So for monitoring, I'm not talking about handling, okay? I'm talking about monitoring. So using which keyword we monitor our exception? That okay, if we are getting an exception, so inside which block we just write that particular statement. So I got answered that one, try, Harshvardhan, Yashwant, Sahil. Okay. So they have posted the answer, that is your try. So remember, the answer will be what your try. Okay. So what you generally do, whatever your risky code now, like I have given you 10 divided by 0. So where is this 10 divided by 0? I should always try to put inside my try block, right? Like this. Now next question is, which of these keyword must be used to handle the exception thrown by the try block in some rational manner? Okay, so you have to tell me about, okay, if you have to handle that exception, so which block you have to use. Okay, so I'm getting the output, that is your four catch. Okay, so you already know the answer. So if you want to handle that particular exception, so you have to use this your catch block, right? That's correct. So now you have the basic fundamentals of your try and catch block. So you already know that what is try, what is catch, what is finally, what is throw, what is throws. Okay, that's great. Now let's solve some of the problems. So in this problem, I'm just going to explain you this problem so that you will understand. We have this public static void main, we have this try block, we have this catch block. Inside our try block, we are writing system.out.println hello, and after concatenating with your 1 divided by 0, and after that we are writing catch, and we are just printing void over there. Now you have to tell me like which one will be my correct output, right? So I am getting the answer is 4 from Yashwant, that is 4. Harshvardhan, word. What about others? Is there anyone who is getting this different output? Please let me know. Just go through this code. Okay. All of you, I can see that only 3 or 4 students are participating. I want all of you should participate, right? So just go through this code. So those who are having some difficulty, please let me know. Okay. So here you can see directly that here we are getting an exception, 1 divided by 0. So automatically what will do? Intrinsically, it will create an object of new arithmetic exception object, right? And it will handle it to our JVM. Now JVM will ask my main method, hey main, are you handling this exception? So it will go directly into my catch block. And in catch block, we are handling an arithmetic exception, right? So it will go directly and it will print this statement. So the output which you will get over there is world over there. Okay, not hello world. Remember, you won't be able to see because in this statement you are getting, okay? So it won't execute this entire statement, right? So it will,
Sir.
in here we are getting an exception. So remember this one, right?
Sir.
Right. So now take this code. Now tell me about if you are going to execute this code, what output we will get. So again, the question is quite simple. We have this try block, we have this catch block, and here we have to value A and B. This A divided by 0. We are printing system.out.print A, system.out.print B. So which output we will get? Whether we will get a compilation error, runtime error, A or B. Okay, so I am getting the output as B. Okay, is there anyone? Satvik, Pranay, Harshvardhan, Sahil. So all of you and Yashwant. Okay, so all of you have posted the same answer, and Aditya. So all of you have posted the correct answer. So in this scenario, why we are not getting other outputs? So because in this statement, we are getting an exception. Why? Because the value of B is 0. So 5 by 0, we will get an arithmetic exception. And just because of that, it will go directly here and it will print whatever the statement we have. So that is why we are getting the output as what your A. That's correct. Now let's take the program is quite same, but here we are using one finally block 2. Now you have to tell me that what will be the output if I am going to execute this code. Yes. So Yashwant posted B, C. Okay. So what about others? What they are saying? So yes, Sahil posted the same answer. What about others? Is there anyone who is saying that, okay, we will get the output CB or something like that, or we will get ABC? While we don't have any other option. Yeah. So again, your answer is correct because in this statement we are getting. So that is why, see, in from each and every example, we are learning something, right? So that is why I told you in one of the slide that please try to make your try statement as smaller as possible. So otherwise, whatever the statement that are there after where you are getting an exception, so you won't be able to basically execute those statements. Okay, it will automatically terminate. after that particular statement, right? So that is why what will happen, it will go directly, you are getting an exception. Now what I want is that if I'm going to write down null pointer exception, then what will happen? Can anyone tell me for this particular scenario what output I will get if I am going to write null pointer exception?
So we get an
For
error.
exception, all of you have given me the correct answer. For null pointer exception, what output I will get?
We get an error, sir.
Okay, it will give us an error. That's okay.
Error after that.
Basically, whether will it display any one of the statement, any one of the system out
Yes.
dot out dot println statement?
So it will print C.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. So that's correct. So what it will do, it will print, first it will print C, because what I told you that whether you are handling an exception, whether you are not handling that exception, always it will execute your finally statement, right? So it will execute, you will get C, and after that our JVM will say that, see, you are not handling this exception. Why? Because see, we are not here, we are handling only null pointer exception. We are not handling your arithmetic exception, right? So it will say that, okay, now after that it will pass that object to our default exception handler object, and our default exception handler object will display, default exception handler will display the entire message. You already know that what message it will display, right? Now let's check it out for this particular case. What output I will get? Just go through this question very carefully. I am telling you this word carefully. Otherwise, you will get ki, haan bhai sir, why we are getting some error over there, right? So just go through this program very carefully and tell me like what output I will get, what error I will get. Take some time for this particular question. So I am gradually increasing, right? The complexity of your programs. So the answer is from Sahil 3. Sahil, you posted for this question too, or for other one? For this question, no?
Sir, yes, this one.
Yeah. So Sahil posted the answer, that is compilation error. What about others? What will be the output? Or whether I will put one more option, none of the above. NOA, none of the above. Just write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, take your time. I am 100% sure that all of you know the answer for this particular source code, for this particular program, I must say that. Yeah. I got one answer from Pranay, that is 05. Okay. So now I got one answer from this, one answer for 05. So now it's kind of a means. See, let's see whose answer is correct. What about others? Only two answers I got till now. Others, please participate and tell me the correct output. Harshvardhan, again, I got one more answer, 3. So now for this question, I'm getting different answer, 3 different answer. Means for every option, I'm getting means different answer. Okay, so let's check it out. Now Aditya posted 5. Okay, so one more option we got, that is only 5 only, and we are getting 0505. So Harshvardhan got the answer. So he has posted compilation error. See, this entire question code is simple now, but what happened now? All of you are basically going through this code. Only just you are just focusing upon try and catch block. But remember this thing. This sum is what? This sum is this one, right? Inside this block of code. Can we access this sum outside this block? Can we access this variable outside this block? Just let me know. Okay. So that is why what will happen if you are going to execute this code, then you will get a compilation error with this statement, because it's kind of a block now. So you have created this block, local block. So it means that you cannot access this thing outside that particular block. Got it? So this is the error which you will get. Okay, compilation. Now let's take this question. Now I have increased a little bit. Means not that much complex this program is. I hope that all of you will give the correct answer for this particular question too. So in this question, what we have this try stay block and two catch block we have, right? Two catch block I am having and one try block. Now let's tell me if I'm going to execute this code, what will happen? Take your time for this question, okay? Take your time and just write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whatever the option you are getting. Because using this example, you will learn a lot of things, even though you forget some of the concept. But that is why I have put it all these things, okay, so that you can revise your concepts too, right? So just tell me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So till now, is there anyone who has posted any this option? Take your time for this question. And if anyone is having any doubt, even after this particular question, feel free to ask. For this question, what I mean to say is that I just want to give you one hint is that you should know the hierarchy of your entire exception class. You know that first you have throwable and something like that. Okay. So if you know the hierarchy, you know the answer. Okay, so let's check it out. So Sahil posted first option. Okay, so I got one answer for our first option, and Divyansh posted fourth option. Yeah, so Divyansh posted this your fourth option. Let's check it out. Is there anyone who is getting some other option? Yeah, you whatever the answer you are getting it, just post your answer. Okay. And just go through your that particular YouTube link if you are not able to get this particular thing. So I will try to upload whatever the videos that are there, okay, related to exception handling. Just go through it and I am 100% sure that you will get the correct answer. So I got one answer from Pranay, that is 1. So I got 1 plus 1. So now here I am getting maximum answer from this particular option, that is 1. And for this, I'm getting one answer. Is there anyone other answer? Yes, others, please participate. See, these are the questions which we are basically generally getting, okay, during your quizzes. But at that time, basically, you are not in a test, so that's why you generally get confused most of the times. Otherwise, see how much time it will take. It will take not more than 2 to 3 minutes, right? So from Aditya posted fourth option. Okay, again, so it's 2 on 2. Okay, so is there anyone who is getting some different answer? So what I will do next time, it's better I will try to use Mentimeter, but for your class, I will check it out. How can I go for? I will have to check the entire limit for Mentimeter. Okay, so yeah, just tell me about 4. Okay, so let's tell me about this answer. Okay, don't take that much amount of time. So in this question, if we are not getting an exception, right? So as you already know that first of all, we'll go for compilation error, then we'll go for compilation time, then we'll go for runtime. So in one of the slide, what I have told you, one thing which I have told you related to your catch block is that it's better that I should open that particular slide. Okay, so that you will understand what I mean to say. Let me open that slide. Whether method exception information. Yeah. So in this when you have try and multiple catch blocks. So in this scenario also we are having multiple catch block. So whenever you are having multiple catch block, what I have tell you, what I have told you is basically that you have to follow the hierarchy. Hierarchy means first of all, just try to write down child class exception. First handle the child class exception, then handle parent class exception. Okay, so first write arithmetic exception, then write exception. Similarly for this case also, right? But here what we are doing, whenever you are going to write first parent class na, and then you are going to write child class, then what will happen? You will get a compilation error, and the error which you will get over there is exception, arithmetic exception has already been caught. Why we are getting an exception? Because this arithmetic exception, what I have told you, that it is a subclass of exception class, so it is already there inside our exception class. So why we are keeps on writing again and again? So similarly, for this particular problem also, this exception class, we have this exception class, right? We have this exception class. Now inside this exception class, again we are writing what? Null pointer exception class. So we have covered this class, okay, already in this class. So why again we are writing this thing? So that is why you will get a compilation error saying that null pointer exception has already been caught. Where you have caught? Inside your this exception class. So always remember that whenever you are having multiple catch block, so it should always follow the hierarchy, right? Remember this point. Now tell me about this question, okay? In this question, what will be the result if null pointer, okay, this is null pointer. Null pointer exception occurs at line number 2. So in this line, if we got some null pointer exception, okay, so what output I will get? I hope that all of you will give me the correct answer. Yes? Let me open the chat box. Yeah, for this particular question, what output I will get? 1 3 2 3 1 3. So let's check. I got a few answers from Sahil. I got 1 3. Okay, this answer I got, and from Harshvardhan I got. Okay, Harshvardhan updated his answer, and now he's saying that we'll get 1 3. Okay, what about Pranay? 1 3. Okay, that's correct. So basically, all of you are saying that we'll get 1 3, and your answer is correct, because whenever we will get a null pointer exception, so remember only one exception, one catch block will get executed. Okay, even though you will have multiple catch block na, don't say कि अच्छा सबके सब मेरे exception block execute होंगे, होगा एक ही exception block. So that is why it will execute our first this one, and it will print 1. After that, always you remember that it will always execute this finally block. So then it will execute 3 over there. Now, what I'm going to do, if I'm going to write finally again, okay, system.out.println 5. Can anyone tell me what output I will get for this code? For same question, अब मैंने क्या कर दिया? What I have done, I have added one more finally block, right? So now I am having 2 finally block and 2 catch block for a single try block. Then what will happen? Can anyone tell me what output I will get? Tell me about whether we will get a compilation error or not. Also for compilation error, just write it down CE. Otherwise, say, okay, it will execute fine. Otherwise, just write E. E for it will execute fine. CE for compilation error. Just write down for this particular question. What will be the output if I am going to write it down this thing? So Yashwant Harshvardhan posted compilation error. So yes, your answers are correct, because basically in a program, remember, so basically I'm revising all your concept. Okay, in your program, remember that you can have only one finally block. Okay, you can have at most, remember, at most one finally block. It is optional. Even you want to remove, you can remove it. So that is why I have used at most. At most means 0 or 1. It's up to you, right? Like this. Now for this particular problem, what will be the output? So let's remove this case. I hope that you will get the output of this case. So this is very important, okay? So that's why I'm giving you this example, because I haven't discussed this concept so far. So that is why just tell me about this particular code. So take your time, and then I'm going to end this session, okay? I'm going to end this session by telling you about this particular question. And in our next lecture, we are going to start our new concept, that is your multi-threading, okay? So now we have enough lectures. So I'm 100% sure that we are able to complete your entire syllabus. Okay. So we are not leaving any one of the concepts. Initially, I thought we are not going to cover multi-threading, but yeah, now we are able to cover your multi-threading concepts too. Okay. Now tell me about what will be the concept. Okay. So basically, I'm 100% sure that those who don't know this particular concept, they will say that we will get the output. But I'm telling you that if we are going to execute this code, we will get an error. So why we are getting an error? Because I haven't covered this part, but now I want to cover this part using this example is that because see, whenever you are performing method overriding, see here what we are doing, we are performing method overriding. So remember this point is very important is that whenever you are performing, see except one is in overriding or see inheriting except class, and trial class is again inheriting your except class. So in both the class, what you can see that we are basically overriding this method. So yes, we can perform overriding, but remember in our overriding, whenever we are performing, here we are writing throws EOF exception and file not found exception. So as I told you that you can write multiple exception classes. Okay, you can throws multiple exception class, no issue at all. So till now, your code will execute successfully, no issue at all. But in this block, now it will check whenever you are overriding this method. See, remember you have two options. Either you can write any one of the class. Okay, either I can write EOF exception or file not found exception or both. So for this case, I am writing file not found exception. So yes, again here, overriding is possible. Okay, remember overriding is possible. But remember for this case, for this particular case, I will get an error. Why I will get an error? Because I cannot perform method overriding. Why? Because method name is same, signature is same, return time, everything is same. But whenever I am declaring this exception now, so I am declaring some different exception, which is not listed there in your this parent method, you can call it as, okay? In your overriding method, the method to whom you want to override. Okay, so either you can use EOF exception, file not found exception, both, but you cannot write any other exception over there. So that is why the error which you will get over there is C. In trial cannot override this in Excel, right? So this is all about our file exception handling. I hope that now you will be able to solve all the problems. What I will do after this lecture, I will upload this entire lecture on YouTube. I have already shared this particular link. Please go through it if you are not understanding any concept. And if you are having any doubt, you can directly ask me. And I'm also trying to do this